What's up, everybody? It's Mr. 100K a day in the flesh with another episode of the biggest hater in track and field. And today we're going to be talking about your boy Michael Johnson and the new track league in which he initiated, which he started, in which he got investors in. And I'm here to tell you it's going to fail. It's going to fail. It's not going to work. And I'm going to tell you why it's going to fail and it's not going to work. But first, before we get into that, I'm going to let you guys see and hear from Mr. Michael Johnson himself.
To come on here and let you know how excited I am about my new track venture. I've teamed up with some great partners, and together we're making the biggest investment ever into professional track and field to build a professional, truly fan-focused league that will unlock commercial value for the best track and field athletes in the world. There's more to come. You can read more in the article below, and you'll hear more from me in the coming months.
Okay, so subsequent to him releasing that, Forbes came out with a statement. He released an article in Forbes and other media outlets indicating that he had secured actual money and investment in track and field, and people who, I guess, investors would put up seed money to start with this track league. So this is an article from Forbes where it goes into what what occurred and what he actually obtained. So it says Olympic champion Michael Johnson has announced a new track and field league. The retired 200 and 400 meter gold medalist revealed this week details, including a total of $30 million in funding from investors and strategic partners for launching a fan-focused track and field series. Winners Alliance, a 2022 founded for-profit arm of professional tennis players, was the lead investor in the first funding round of the series. The Winners Alliance, which has reportedly invested a seven-figure sum, will also be the operating partner for Johnson's league. The league, whose name and other details will be released in June, is set to start in 2025 and will be held from April to September during the normal track season. The main aim of this series, with a limited number of events, is to bring more exposure to the athletes. The series will also focus on track rivalries to generate more fans and hype up engagement. See, that's the problem I have with this particular thing. That's the big problem I have with this particular thing dealing with Michael Johnson, because when Michael Johnson himself was a competitor, he had two major head-to-head rivalries in which he was directly pitted against another high-performing athlete in situations where he was supposed to come through. Now, for you youngins out there who may not remember, I'm going to remind you of what happened. So the first one was in 1997, right? He was already Olympic champion in 96. He did great things. But those races in which he won at the Olympics, the 400 particularly, he wasn't really even challenged on. I think he probably won by almost a full second, if not more. The 200 was more competitive, but he still blew those guys out of the water because he was supremely talented. And the guys he went against were guys who had already shown a tendency to choke when it came to championship settings. And by the time he got to the Olympics in 1996, he was already a multiple-time world champion, at least 3 or 4 times. So we knew he had won the 200-meter world championship in the year 1991. He also won the 400-meter world championship in 1993, and he won the 200 and 400-meter world championships in 1995. Yes, he had the issue in 1992 at the Olympics in Barcelona, but that was based upon not a performance thing. That was more because he had gotten sick with food poisoning at the Olympic trials, and he didn't perform up to his capabilities. So Michael Johnson had a long history of being a world champion, at least 4 or 5 times over before he even got to the Olympics. So his performance at the Olympics in 96 wasn't really an anomaly or an outlier. He just did what he was actually projected to do. But when he was put in one-on-one situations with people who were just as talented as he was or more and really challenged him head on, I'm going to remind you guys what actually took place. And this was what happened in 1997 during his one-on-one race with Donovan Bailey. And this is how his contemporaries felt about him. Take a listen.
Shocking turn of events. Michael Johnson grasping at his quadricep as he took the turn, pulling up and then out.
I first started feeling it as I was coming around the curve. It felt like a cramp. It grabbed and then it let go. I tried to keep running, and then I felt it again, and it was a little more intense that time.
And after so much time spent hyping the race and harping on who is the faster man, the question.
Were you genuinely injured, or did you throw the race?
Next question.
Every step of this race has been taken with bravado, but after it was over, Bailey took it one step too far.
He didn't pull up, he's a chicken. He didn't pull up at all, he's just a chicken. He's afraid to lose. I think what he should do is we should run this race over again so he can kick his ass one more time.
It was a comment made before millions watching on TV, but one even later at the post-race press conference he did not regret making.
Well, he's called me a lot of things, so no, I don't regret it.
That shows a lot about what kind of person he is. I'm going to show you the kind of person I am. I'm not going to address that.
Yet as both addressed what happened, the dislike for one another was obvious, and Bailey, for one, refused to hold back.
Who's the fastest man in the world?
Well, you know what? I've always said that this race was never going to prove who the fastest man in the world is. All it was going to do is to shut Michael Johnson up.
On leading Johnson out of the turn.
I've never ran a corner with Michael Johnson. I mean, and it's very obvious that if I'm within striking distance of him that early in the race and I'm blowing by him, that the gap's just going to get bigger and bigger and my butt's just going to get smaller and smaller as I pull away from him.
On whether Johnson felt he was going to get beat.
I don't think Michael felt that he was going to get beat. He knew he was going to get hammered after the first 30 meters. So, I mean, he had to pull up.
The animosity shown here today has without question tainted what was supposed to be a great showdown. A showdown that promised to be so good for track and field, but one that ended in nothing more.
So here we go, guys. That's how the one-on-one race, when he was pitted against Donovan Bailey, that's how it ended in 1997. We saw what Donovan Bailey had to say about him. We saw how that turned out. So we really didn't get what we really wanted out of that race. And this is a one-on-one situation. It was much hype. He failed. He choked. He got injured, whatever. So let's let that go, right? Because we see sometimes it just happens. So let's fast forward to 2000, another match. He goes in 98. He runs a lot of 400s. He breaks the world record in the 400 in 1999. Then once again, he's not a 19.3 guy. He ran 19.3 once. If you look at his whole resume, he's more of a 19.9 guy. So he's ran a couple, I think he ran 19.7 in championship settings, but for the most part, outside of championships, Michael Johnson doesn't PR. So this race with Mo Greene at the Olympic trials should have been an opportunity for him to really do something really interesting. But of course, the race was much hype, and I'm going to show you the lead up to the race. Once again, this is what happened in the lead up.
Now at the 2000 Olympic trials, Michael Johnson and Mo Greene. The anticipation has been building, and so is the posturing. In fact, in a build-up more reminiscent of boxing than track and field, Michael and Mo have steadily escalated their war of words.
My relationship against Michael Johnson is he's just another athlete.
There is no relationship.
We compete against each other.
I don't talk to Maurice.
That's the only relationship that we have.
Yeah, I'm glad he's running at 200.
He doesn't have my foot speed.
Nothing will strike fear in me.
I believe I'm a much stronger runner.
This is great for the sport.
Oh, it's going to be very special. It's going to be very, very special for me.
When you really look at the facts.
It's going to be a great show.
It's not that great of a matchup.
We're going to run a very fast race.
He thinks that he's going to be able to win this in the court of public opinion.
I'm prepared to go whatever it takes to win.
And this group that he's in, he's got to make them believe that I'm not afraid of Michael. Well, what does that mean? Yes, you are. All of this talk back and forth about what I've done, what he's done.
He has the world record in it. I'm the world champion in it.
It don't matter. We know this.
The time is here. We're both going to face each other.
He and I both want to win.
I believe I have a better chance.
And only one of us can. That's the bottom line.
So that's how the race in the build-up went, and this is how the race actually went. In the end, once again, this is how Michael Johnson fared.
Greene both not competing at 200 meters. Michael Johnson got out of the blocks well, and right there you can see the change in his face, and he begins to reach back to his left hamstrings, his left glute, and he's down.
And that is not the leg he was having trouble with earlier. It was his right leg. This time it's his left. That's right, Marty. It was his left Achilles before and the right quadricep. And there you see his left hand grabbing right at his left glute or high up in the hamstring. And so we'll have to wait to see how serious that injury is. You just have to hope that both of these guys were able to back off before the damage was real serious. Maurice Greene in lane 2, where there's a lot more pressure on your body as you come around the speed. Remember, this guy is a 9.79 sprinter, so he's got a tremendous amount of torque coming around the corner. And it looks as though he had trouble holding on there. Well, in lane 2, he had that tight lane. That's tough for someone who's as heavy as him. There's a lot of centrifugal force. Right there. Right there is the face change, and now he's just trying to slow down. And as you mentioned, Marty, keep from having any more collateral damage. Well, he's trying to slow down from.
So that's how Michael Johnson's second opportunity to do a one-on-one, well, not really one-on-one, but a head-to-head situation where he was pitted against another track and field athlete who was at the top of his game. If everybody knows, Maurice Greene was at the top of his game in 2000, and it was a lot of trash talk leading up to the race where he ended up getting injured, and Maurice Greene was also injured in that race. But the thing that bothers me the most is the way Michael Johnson handled it. Well, let me take a step back. After the race with Donovan Bailey, Michael Johnson didn't want to do a rematch. In Donovan Bailey's recently issued book, he talked about how Michael Johnson did not want to do a rematch, and they could have built it up again, got healthy, but he just ran. His agent and him really ran from the situation. So Michael Johnson doesn't like confrontation. He doesn't like head-to-head confrontation. We couldn't respect him as an athlete in these head-to-head situations. To make matters worse, after Michael Johnson was injured in that 2000 race, and of course we want to see him run, we want to see him do well, we want to see him recover, he came back with an article. And this is what he said in this article. And this article was released not long after the 200-meter debacle. And this is what he said. He said that he was, and this article came from July 24th, 2000. And Michael Johnson then said that he was completely done. He was done running the 200 because of Maurice Greene's trash talking. It said Michael Johnson says he's finished with the 200 meters. The Olympic gold medals and world record holder at the distance won't run that race again because of the silly trash talking by Maurice Greene leading up to the 200-meter final at the U.S. Olympic trials. Michael Johnson said he's finished with 200 meters. He said he won't run the race again. It's a huge relief because I was sick of the 200. It was something that was a benefit for everybody but me. I didn't want this, but it was something I felt in my position that I could give the people the chance to try to beat me. So his coach Clyde Hart confirmed that Johnson giving up the 200. He said the 200s that he had scheduled in Europe in August and September would have to be 400 or he won't run them. This is what he said. He said it was built up too much. It was built up the wrong way. Johnson said of his showdown with Greene, everyone was falling over themselves to try to continue to build it up. And it was something that I had no interest in being part of because it became so negative and not about track anymore. It became about who can talk the most trash and who can down the person the best. That's just silly. So I didn't want to have anything to do with it. Johnson said that even if he had won the 200 at the trials on Sunday, he probably wouldn't have defended his Olympic title at Sydney in September. So this is where he just really lost me. The hype got out of control because Maurice fed it. He fed the out of control monster because it became because nobody got great sound bites from me. They got me defending myself and twisted and turned it to be trash talk and all of that. But this was started by Maurice saying last year that I was ducking him and dodging him. Then it even further said by Maurice saying, I'll run against him anytime, anywhere. And then Maurice saying, he's not that great. He's not that good. His 200 meters was not that great. I would have broken the 200-meter record on the same track, then saying the track he ran the 1932 on, it was illegal. It just went on from there and kept on and said he had nothing to gain from competing in the 200 or against Greene. I knew from the beginning that Maurice Greene was not going to be the guy that I would have to beat at the Olympic trials. Johnson says he's looking forward to Olympics because I think Sydney will be a lot more fun now, not because there's nobody in the 400 that can beat me. It'll be a lot more fun because I don't have to be in the center of some kind of matchup or showdown that turns silly. Now, this is where I have a problem. Excuse me, everybody. This is where I have a problem, y'all. My problem comes because Michael Johnson pretends to be this guy who's going to hype up track and field so much. Excuse me. He's going to be the savior of track and field. He's going to do all these great things for track and field. However, when he was in a position himself to do something, this is the route he took when there was a major head-to-head matchup with him. A major head-to-head matchup. Two of them. And this is what happened. He not only did he choke both times, he failed, but then he also bowed out and said the trash talk was too much. When do track and field athletes, sponsors, and everybody realize the trash talk, the rivalries, the negative energy is what builds it up? Positive energy doesn't build up rivalries. Negative energy. The Lakers versus the Celtics. Rivalries that drive sports and generate fan engagement. That's what does it. Why should fans in his new track and field league pay to see anything in that league when talent is so dispersed across meets across the world in a season? Or we can go to a regular meet and we could see a guy like Isam Mazinga beating Noah Lyles at a track meet. Isam Mazinga was a high school kid when he beat Noah Lyles in high school. So what you're saying is that you're a professional track lead that you're getting $30 million investment in. This is going to be something that's going to generate so much revenue now that people want to go, or that the investors are going to want to keep investing. I'm here to tell y'all right now, this league is going to fail, and it's going to fail miserably. And it's going to fail because the fans do not want to pay to watch track. And because outside of the fans who are already a part of track, nobody wants to watch track and field. The athletes are boring. It's not entertaining outside of the 10 seconds in which they're actually competing. And nobody really wants to have to pay for track and field. It's a dying sport, a much, 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 much dead sport. And I think that Michael Johnson he's the wrong guy for the right job. Yes, it is a good thing that he's doing, but it's going to fail miserably. And I think that he can't even be respected in the position that he's in because of the way he handled his own beefs when he was a competitor. Nobody respected the way Michael Johnson handled his one-on-one situations. And I hope people recognize that. So this is Mr. 100K a day. Once again, the biggest hater in track and field. And I want you guys to have absorbed this episode and appreciate it, understand where brother coming from. I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all take care.